how's it going? Okay, so I have another tag for you, and it's one that I made. This one I've been working on for a bit. It took forever. I just want to say, there's a lot of personalities out there, and I love them all, but I don't understand them all. And so constructing a question that was so specific to you, whoever you are, was kind of difficult. So that's why it took me so long. I am excited about this one. The entire reason I made this tag is because I was curious about you guys. Every time I meet one of you, or talk to one of you, or add one of you on social media of any kind, my first thought is like, what's your Myers-Briggs test? What's your personality? I want to know everything about you guys, but I also don't want to ask. So I'm gonna ask myself first, and then I'm gonna tag a whole bunch of you, and then you guys can continue that on. This is how the tag works. It's a little different. You do not answer every question on the tag. Only answer questions that apply to your personality type. First thing you need to do, if you don't already know it, is take the Myers-Briggs personality test. I have a few linked down below that are free. Some charge you. Don't do that. Just take the free ones. If one of them doesn't apply to you, and like you take the test and you're like, I'm sorry, skip me over, or just pick the one you like best. I am an INFJ, which is the acronyms for introvert, intuition, feeling, and judging. Together they make INFJ. The acronym always stays the same, but people do name their acronyms different things, whereas mine in this is going to be called the counselor. I've also seen it referred to as the teacher. So keep that in mind if you don't like the name that it gave you. I just found a complete list so that it was like cohesive, but the acronym is the most important part. This is already getting convoluted and confusing, so I'm gonna just do mine and you'll just do what I do, but as it applies to you. So, the first in mine is I, which is introverted, and the question that goes to I is, you can be outgoing, but need to recharge with some calming solitude. Where is your favorite place to read and unwind? Why is this little oasis where you choose to go? One of my favorite places to go is my big comfy chair out in the living room. Another place I like to read is on my Snorlax. I drag it all around, and I use it quite often. For those who don't know, a Snorlax is a Pokemon, and I have it in giant beanbag form. The next letter in my Myers-Briggs personality is N, which stands for intuition, because I was already taken. For intuition, the prompt is, some books are meant to be understood and others meant to be explored. What book or character stands for an idea that is deeply meaningful to you? For this one, I had a hard time until I really thought about like what was meaningful to me, because I was trying to think of something that was like universally meaningful, and that was the entire point of this, is that it's meaningful to you. In the end, I ended up going with Wise Child by Monica Furlong and Juniper specifically. This entire book brings up a lot of things that are important to me, but since I was very, very young, Juniper has always been the epitome of kind of what I stood for and wanted to be. And to kind of dive in a little bit, she's described as a Doran in this book, and she's someone who practices witchcraft. Growing up practicing witchcraft, there were not always firm rules set in place for what was acceptable within my religion, and I always felt that within Wise Child, Juniper's methods of teaching and being with her witchcraft was really one that I stood by. I found her to be both equal parts caring and stern, and you could tell that she truly wanted Wise Child, who is the narrator of this book, to succeed. And I just really, this book always speaks to me, and when I am having trouble finding where I'm standing spiritually in a moment, I come back to Juniper within Wise Child. And if witchcraft is something that interests you or you'd like to learn more about, at least from my perspective, this one is a good place to start. The next prompt for my INFJ, which is F, feeling. Not everything needs to be realistic. Where is the fun in a world that has limits? Which fantasy world do you find so atmospheric you slip inside and never want to leave? Put simply, a book with good vibes. For this one, I picked Nevermore, The Trials of Morrigan Crow by Jessica Townsend. I hadn't felt so uplifted after reading a book in a very long time. There are so many books that I love but don't uplift me the way that this one did. I was really excited while reading it. I didn't want to leave. I just wanted it to keep going. Even when not a lot was happening in the book, I felt really good while reading it. The characters all were very uniquely their own, and I just wanted to get to know them more and more and more. And so Nevermore, for sure, is the book I'm picking for this prompt. And lastly, to finish my INFJ, and that is J, which is judging. For this one, I have all play and no work leads to chaotic disorder and anarchy. How do you structure and balance your reading, booktube, and personal life to better use your time? For me, at the beginning of the summer, I didn't actually give myself much structure. I kind of wanted to see what it was all about. I needed to see what my foundation was so I could build upon it. So at the beginning of the summer, I didn't really know what I was going to do. I was just watching YouTube, reading books, and talking about books on YouTube. Now, as summer's winding down, I kind of have found a bit of a flow. I have a calendar that has scheduled days that I film, but not scheduled days currently that I'm uploading. Then once the films are out of the way, I feel a little bit more productive, and I think that I'll edit on my own and upload them within a reasonable manner. As far as watching BookTube goes, I'll put them in my watch later list, and I watch the least recent to the most recent so that the videos I'm watching that have piled up are still relevant. After that, as far as reading goes, I found that readathons are very fun and very productive for me. I like having it scheduled out, and I like having the different prompts, and having a goal in mind has been really useful for me. I know it's not for some people, but for me, I definitely like having it. I'll still have my seasonal goal list, but I will also give a little bit more structure to my month to month. Once you've completed each part of your acronym of your personality, all you have left to do is answer the prompt that goes with your personality type. For mine, it's INFJ, the counselor, and the question is, yes, we're a bit odd, but we're also filled with intuition and empathy, which makes us a fairly caring lot. What is a book you would recommend to a friend having a hard time? For me, it was a recent read. Turtles All the Way Down by John Green is something I would definitely give to someone who is having a hard time. I could easily apply this book and Aza to multiple aspects of my different friends. For a quick synopsis, Aza is a 16-year-old girl who, along with her best friend, decides to solve a mystery that could lead to money. There's quite a few changes within this book that I didn't see coming that make it very unique from other books of its same genre. Some of her thoughts that are brought up in this book are just beautifully written. I found this book had a really great representation of mental illness. Aza struggles with OCD, anxiety, and several other aspects of her life. And through all of this, the plot is rolling on and there is a mystery to be solved. And while I had heard that all the way through, I didn't know how directly it would apply to me and people that I know. I think that Turtles All the Way Down is definitely a book that could help you with figuring that stuff out, or at least give validity to the feelings that you already have. And I'll be sure to recommend this to people who I think would find it significant. So as far as me being an INFJ, my job is done here. However, not everyone is an INFJ, and I have made prompts specifically for you. So to list the instructions in order, first you need to know your personality type. I have listed quizzes down below. Second, you'll need to read the prompt for each acronym of your personality type. I have prompts for I, E, S, N, T, F, J, and P. After you've read the prompts that go with your acronym, you have your actual personality type. That is the last question in this tag, and definitely an important one, so make sure you don't just do the letters. There are 16 Myers-Briggs personality types. You only need to answer your own, but you're more than welcome to answer others if you think that they're fun. I'm really leaving this open. Finally, the last instruction you have after that is to tag people. There are so many booktubers out there I would love to know more about, and I'd really like to see their answers, so I'm going to list quite a few down below. I'm leaving it open on here saying if you want to do this tag, you are tagged. Officially, I have given you homework, and I eagerly await to see your results. Besides that, I hope you're enjoying the sun or more stars wherever you are. Until next time, bye! We'll dive in and find out everything I can about you. Not because I'm a stalker, but because I like knowledge. But I figure if I did it in a tag, then I'm less creepy. I didn't call it the Myers-Briggs book tag, number one, because it felt too long. Two, it kind of took from the alliteration of Briggs and book, and you don't actually care about like why I named my tag the name I named. You just want me to get into the tag. I've already been talking for 4 minutes. That makes me sound like I'm homeless and sleeping on a Snorlax. Some books are mentally... bleh. I think it's applicable. That's not a word I can say. Significant. Okay.